Bring it down like this so I can see. I want you to kind of explain to me what you did today with or however long it took you. Yeah, because what you're telling me about the axle is quite impressive. So
you picked the prettiest Jeep to do it too.
Yeah, they're all pretty, man. Anything.
Look at all that paint under there.
I guess he's a painter. Okay, and you are Mad Max. And Mean Max, I'm sorry. Mad Max is that crazy guy from the movie. Yeah, you know. And this is his sidekick, Joe, the professional Picasso painter, who's Picasso Joe here, and
the rear end guy.
And this is, and speaking of rear ends, this is the rear end that came out of it. And why would you want to change your rear end?
That's a Dana 35. It's extremely weak. It's very prone to breaking axle shafts. The pinion bearings often go out on these, especially with one that's geared like this, 307 gears. Put big tires on. It makes for a lot of pressure on the Dana 35. It's not uncommon with 33s and larger tires to break an axle shaft. If somebody starts getting stuck while they're wheeling, and the Jeep will start to hop a little bit, and those shock loads will very easily just break the ends, splined ends, right off the axle shafts, and then you're done. Your day's over. Or on a long-term effect, even without wheeling, driving on the street all the time with tall gearing. This came out of a 6-cylinder Jeep. Had 307 gears in it. The guy's running 33-inch tires. It's like starting off in second gear all the time. It's a lot of work on the rear end, and a very light-duty quarter-ton rear end like this will fail usually on the pinion bearings, because that's that initial load. It's trying to spin that pinion, and it's putting a lot of side load on the bearings, and they're just very light-duty, and they don't stand up to it well.
Okay, and so what did you do for this Jeep to fix that problem?
Well, this Jeep right here is a 1989. And it's a 4.2 liter inline six, originally geared to 307, Dana 30 front, Dana 35 rear. And what we have here on it right now is we've got a 1996 Ford Explorer 31 spline, 8.8-inch axle. This axle has been, this is a factory gearing of 3.73, which provides this particular owner the same. He's able to maintain his highway speed and be able to drive the vehicle on the interstate. He makes a lot of out-of-town trips, so he doesn't need the ultra-low gearing. He does a limited amount of off-roading, but it's much better gearing than the 307 gears. It's substantially stronger than the Dana 35. The Ford 8.8 out of the Explorer, 1995 to 2001 model Explorers, has disc brakes, 31 spline axles, and it's almost the same width as the factory Jeep axle, which is actually slightly narrower. Has the same wheel bolt pattern, so you get the advantage of disc brakes, and you get to use your existing wheels. It's really it's a beautiful situation. It goes right in. It's not too bad. There's a little bit of fabrication work, but it's a very economical install, and it works really great. There are a few other things that go along with it. Look over here. You can see that we had to add, with the 8.8, we had to have a custom drive shaft made. It has a constant velocity joint right here. There's a slip shaft. We've done a slip yoke eliminator on the transfer case. This transfer case has been converted to a fixed yoke with the addition of the slip yoke eliminator kit. And we've also done some other work to this one, because this 8.8 has been upgraded to lockers, and we re-geared the front axle and also put lockers in. And these are automatic ratcheting lockers, or Aussie lockers. And these Aussie lockers can have a problem if you're flat towing on the Jeep, on the YJs, because when you put the transfer case in neutral, the transfer case still locks the front and the rear drive shafts at exactly the same speed. So this transfer case, when we had it apart doing the slip yoke eliminator kit, we took the selector shaft out and put in a selector shaft from a TJ model, which provides what they call a true neutral. So once the transfer case is in neutral, the rear drive shaft and the front drive shaft can spin independently of each other, which will prevent the lockers from trying to lock up on the highway if you're flat towing the vehicle behind a motorhome.
Right, which typically you have to dismount one of the, you have to disconnect it.
It keeps you from having to pull the drive shaft when you tow it.
Yes.
It's just a little bit of mixing and matching you can do. That's the beauty of the Jeeps. You know, I can use a Ford axle in the rear. I can use a different model Jeep selector shaft. I can alter the transfer case. There's just so many things to do. But we've done quite a lot to this Jeep. We've re-geared the front, like I said, 373s. It's got an Aussie locker in the front. We did a perma-lock on the front, got rid of the center axle disconnect. It's just like the 1997 and newer Jeeps where there is no disconnect on the axle. It operates as one shaft. You can put a straight one-piece shaft in some of these, but this one's not machined to accept a seal in here. So we actually ended up just locking it together. That way you never have to worry about this kicking out when you're out in your woods and losing your front drive unit. So that way it's always driven and you're always there. So put all new axle joints in it, rebuilt the transmission, we've been through the transfer case. Really there's nothing on this Jeep we haven't touched. We've been into the engine of this Jeep. We've done extensive work to the engine. Like I said, rebuilt the transmission, transfer case, axles, everything is new. And it really turned out nice. It's a great driving Jeep, and it's a worlds different than it was when it came in. And it's worth doing.
Excellent. And if somebody wanted to get a hold of you to find out more about how to get their Jeep in here, what number would they call?
No, they can call me at area code 772-260-3806. Or they could contact me through my Facebook page, Mean Max the Jeep Guy.
Excellent. And you are located in where?
Stuart, Florida.
Excellent.
That's on the East Coast. We're about 30 miles north of West Palm Beach, right on the coast.
Excellent, excellent. South end of the Treasure Coast, but it's still part of the Treasure Coast.
That's absolutely right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.